Justin has been requesting me on Patreon to review the original Star Wars movies, so it's natural that I'm now taking a look at Return of the Jedi, the capper to that trilogy. Does this end Luke Skywalker's initial fight against the Empire on a strong note? I think so, as the filmmakers put together an exciting and fun movie and continue to push what cinema is capable of on a technical level. My thing with Star Wars is I mostly see them as fun space adventures with some political subtext thrown in, so when one of the films delivers on that front, there's a good chance I will enjoy it. Return of the Jedi provides plenty of entertainment value, and at this point in the story, I'm also completely invested in these characters. Luke Skywalker remains a likable hero, and we really see in this movie how much he has changed and evolved since he was that farm boy back on Tatooine in the first one. He has grown into an experienced Jedi Knight while also dealing with learning the truth about Darth Vader. Mark Hamill does a good job of depicting him grappling with that feeling that Anakin Skywalker is still in there somewhere. The film also explores more of Luke and Leia's relationship after they find out they are siblings. Just don't mention that kiss we shared in the last movie. They don't talk of each other much, but their scene together where Leia finds out is still nicely acted by Hamill and Carrie Fisher. The film itself has an interesting three-act structure that's clearly divided, with the first act in Tatooine, then them landing on the forest moon of Endor, and finally the big battle. We do spend a considerable amount of time in Tatooine with them fighting Jabba the Hutt and rescuing Han Solo, but I think this portion most captures the science fiction surreal feeling George Lucas was going for with these movies. And when Harrison Ford agreed to come back, they needed to resolve the end of The Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo was frozen in carbonite. Plus, it concludes his storyline with Jabba and allows us to immediately see Luke's skills as Jedi at that point. These scenes are a lot of fun for the most part, although boy does Boba Fett go out like a chump. Richard Marquand does a great job of directing the film, whether it's the action scenes or the stylish visuals he brings to it. I think it's neat that each film in the trilogy looks distinct from one another and also reflect the time period they were made in. Star Wars is very much a 1970s movie, while Return of the Jedi does have an 80s feel to it, and Empire Strikes Back is somewhere in the middle. An aspect of the films I also admire is how they take real-world locations and make them look alien. A lot of the Endor scenes were filmed in forests in California, and yet you easily buy them as a place that will be populated with these bear-like creatures. Meanwhile, a highlight of the movie for me is the speeder chase, which has the right level of excitement as they race through the forest on those vehicles at top speed. Regarding the Ewoks, I used to be down on them, but my stance has softened over the years. A common theme of these films is how a small group can unexpectedly defeat stronger powers, and that's reflected through the Ewoks, with George Lucas specifically citing the Viet Cong defeating the United States during the Vietnam War as the main inspiration. No, there's not much to the Ewoks beyond the alien language, cuddly appearances, and primitive society, but they serve their role in the story and give us another unique species within the Star Wars universe. I think the best part of the movie is the third act, when it cuts between three different places. We see Luke's final confrontation with Vader and the Emperor, the Ewoks and other rebels fighting the stormtroopers and Imperial officers on Endor, and the rest of the rebel fleet in space. The editors did a fantastic job of piecing all these important sequences together and giving the audience a sense of when all this is happening. There's a genuine excitement as they all battle each other. Luke's scenes leave the desired effect as he seeks to reject the pressure to turn to the dark side. Ian McDiarmid is also having a ball of a time playing the Emperor, and while he's certainly an over-the-top villain of his cackles and shooting lightning from his fingers, he still comes across as a threat. Return of the Jedi may be the most light-hearted of the trilogy, but the dramatic and emotional moments still deliver. The special effects continue to be top-notch, and much like they did with The Empire Strikes Back, the team at ILM sought to do new things, even a climax that yet again involves blowing up a Death Star. John Williams provides some fantastic new compositions for the score. My favorite piece is Luke and Leia, which is a lovely melody, while the Ewok theme has its own charms, and the music accompanying the duel between Luke and Vader is quite powerful. Like the other films, there were some changes made to Return the Jedi for the special editions, including what I consider the worst scene in the entire trilogy. A musical number titled Jedi Rocks was added to the Jabba's palace sequence, and I don't like it at all. The song is irritating, the computer-generated creatures are ugly, and it just takes me out every time. Then you have Anakin's Force Ghost being played by Hayden Christensen instead of Sebastian Shaw. The explanation for this is that he reverts back to what he looked like when he was good, but that does not make much sense to me, because Anakin redeemed himself before his death. But maybe it would have been less of an issue if Lucas had gone with a take without the Kubrick stare. There is a change in the special edition that I do think is an improvement, and that's the ending music. I think the celebratory song here feels a lot more triumphant and fits better with Williams' score. It was an excellent way to finish off the trilogy and captures that feeling of happiness that this tyrannical empire has finally been defeated. Overall, I do find Return of the Jedi to be a very satisfying close to the original Star Wars trilogy, and in particular how it concludes Darth Vader's arc and this battle between him and Luke. Now let me know your own thoughts on Return of the Jedi in the comments, or even the trilogy as a whole, and thanks for the request, Justin.